Hello, my darling. How are you? Welcome to another episode of our Coaching Corner here on YouTube. My name is Sabrina Militello. If you don't know me super well, I am a coach and founder of Empower Her Coaching. And my intention is to bring you weekly conversations that give you the tools to move beyond the blocks that you're experiencing in your life by understanding that you are the greatest obstacle you will ever come across. And I say that, and it is an underpinning of my work and my programming and my approach to coaching, not to belittle you or make you feel like, well, there's no hope if I'm the one that's in the way. Well, what hope is there? But truly to empower you to understand that when you take your power back in this process of growth, your process of transformation, your process of creating that extraordinary quality of life that you want to live, when you take the power back in that journey, everything is available to you. When you stop allowing the opinions of other people to block you, when you stop allowing the struggle of the process block you, when you stop getting in your own way, everything is open to you. And that's what I mean when I say you are the single greatest obstacle you'll ever come across. So these conversations are intended to give you the tools to move beyond that. Listen, this journey, it's not easy. Speaking from my own experience, it's not easy. Getting from where I once was to the quality of life that I experience today has been the hardest, most arduous journey, but it's also been the one that has created me and developed me and grown me into the woman who sits in front of you today. I just got chills go up the back of my head here, because truly the becoming of this process is the gift of this process. So we're going to dive in to today's topic, which is how to out talk, or how to turn down the volume of the voice that keeps telling you you're not enough. How to overcome, move past, surpass, heal the voice inside your head that keeps telling you you're not enough. And I think this is such a great topic, especially as we head towards the end of the year. And this is the final Coaching Corner episode we're going to have for 2025. So it's a beautiful way to kind of sum up and tie in a bow everything that we've been working on this year, because that voice that lives inside your head is not you. It sounds completely ridiculous when I say this, and I'm actually going to put in the show notes the link to a course that I created about how to silence your inner critic. It's a really valuable teaching and some learnings that you can take with you and use to completely transform your relationship with that inner narrative. So I'll link it in the show notes. If you click below, you'll be able to get your access to that. But that inner voice isn't you. That inner voice, the one that tells you you're not enough, you're not good enough, who do you think you are? This is never going to work. You're not worthy of that. That voice is it's like an echo from the past. That's how I like to describe it. That voice is an echo from your past. All the traumas that you've been through, the BS that you've had to walk through, the people or situations that may have tried to teach you something about your worth or your value in a derogatory sense. The proof or the evidence that you've lived around that has told you your place, that you're not worth that you're not enough, that this will never work for you. You can never be better than what you've always experienced. They're echoes. The voice that you have right now going on in your mind is an echo of all of that. But it's not you. It's not truth. I always think it's fascinating how you can have like three people in a conversation and have three different perspectives of what that conversation is, right? Because there's not one truth. There's simply the individual's truth. Yes, we have facts, as much as our society today would like to debate on that too. We have facts, things that are factually correct or appropriate or factually I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. There are facts. But then the truth is subjective, because the truth depends on the individual's perspective, the individual's insights, sometimes the individual's previous experiences. So there's not one truth, there's simply your truth. And that inner critic is telling you the truth from a past version of yourself. I want you to get that, all right? It's not the truth. It's not your truth. It's simply a truth that once existed when it served you in some way to be what you listen to. But the problem is it doesn't serve you anymore, right? That voice that is telling you you're not enough, the voice that's telling you this will never work, the voice that's telling you what's the point of even trying, the voice that's telling you why would anybody even want to listen to me? There's no point me doing this. That voice is inaccurate and it's holding you back. So how do you turn down the volume or start to block out that inner narrative that's telling you you're not enough? This is where the answer is going to make you really mad at me. The answer to that question is not what you're going to want to hear, because the answer to that question requires you to go inside. It requires you to delve deep into a process of self-discovery and a process of self-inquiry and a recreation of your relationship with yourself. First of all, I would like you to do this exercise with me as we go through this session. Pause the video at any times that you need to give yourself the time to answer the questions, or do the exercise as I prompt it, okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is write down what that voice is saying. Put yourself in a particular scenario. Don't just think of it abstractly, right? Put yourself in a particular scenario. Maybe you are in the process of wanting to launch a business, or wanting to create a new product for your business, or wanting to scale your business, or maybe you're wanting to put yourself forward for that promotion at work, or perhaps there's a qualification that you want to go and see if you can get. Maybe there's a health goal that you have, or a relationship that is struggling, and you really want to give some time, energy, and attention to those areas. But when you go to do that, you go to have that difficult conversation, or you go to make those changes in your eating habits, or you go to apply for the job, or you go to press post or launch on the thing, what is the voice saying to you? What comes up in your head? Think of a specific scenario where you sit down to do the thing, and all of a sudden it's like shackles off. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. What is the voice saying to you? What comes up in your inner narrative? I want you to capture that. So pause the video and write that down. And then when you look at the words that you just wrote on your page, what emotions are triggered inside of you? How does it make you feel when you hear those things? When you're reading back those things, how does it make you feel? And you can think about it from, how does it make me feel right now to read that? Or you can think about it in that particular moment when the voice comes up. How does it make you feel? Do you feel defeated? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel unworthy? Do you feel lost? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel incapable? How does it make you feel? Capture that, write that down. And then once you're clear on the emotion, I want you to get clear on the action that comes next. What do you usually do after that feeling hits you? So you have the voice, the thing that comes up for you. You got clear on how it makes you feel when that voice comes in and those things are said or expressed. Now I want you to capture what you do with that feeling. Do you procrastinate? Do you hide? Do you reject? Do you go and sit in a corner and not deal with it? Do you close your computer and X out of the application? Do you avoid that individual so you don't have to have the conversation? Do you say, oh, next Monday, I'll start working on my nutrition? Like, what do you do? What is the following action that comes after the emotion hits? Capture that. So now you have the words that are said, or the thing that is expressed by your inner critic. You have the emotion, how it makes you feel, and then you have what that emotion makes you do, right? So if you look at that, I want you to identify where the like catalyst is. Is the catalyst for your inaction? Because that's usually what it is, right? Like whatever you put as your action step, it's usually avoidance. Most people who experience this kind of thing, who are in this arena of their growth process, they feel the negative emotion and it leads to a negative action, whether that's avoidance, whether that's self-soothing, whether that's hiding, whatever it is. What is the catalyst for that action? Is it just you did the thing? Or can you identify that it came from the emotion that you felt? And this is the thing that I really, really need you to get. Because when we're in this process of growing and transcending and transformation, and we're entering a new era in our lives, or whatever that looks like, we often think that it's going to be, bang, 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 I'm going to do the thing and it's going to work out great, or I'm going to do the thing and this is my expectation for it, right? But we don't actually understand that in and amongst all of the doing and the planning and the best laid plans, you're a human being who has an entire host of human emotions to navigate. And if we only ever take action on the goals that we have or the intentions that we have when we feel good, that could very well be the reason why you find yourself so stuck in this area of your life that you're stuck in. You have to start training yourself to take action regardless of the emotional state that you're in. And I know this isn't a super popular thing to say because people like to, I like to be in alignment and I like to, come from flow energy and all that kind of stuff when we're talking about taking action towards our goals. But I call bullshit on that a little bit. Yes, alignment is important. Yes, being in the right mental, emotional, physical state to go after the things that you want is important. But if you're only ever taking action when the stars align, then you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of inconsistency. Because isn't it true that we feel meh more often than we feel amazing? Simply because we're human beings having a human experience on planet Earth that is occupied by other human beings. I really want you to understand this, because when you only take action when it feels good, you're teaching yourself that progress can only be made if the circumstances are perfect. And I don't know about you, but I've never had a season or a period or an era, a month, even a week of my life that has been perfect. There's always something to navigate. Yes, it goes on the scale from bad to great, right? Like there's a whole scale there. It doesn't have to be terrible, 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 but nothing is ever completely perfect. And so we teach ourselves a very dangerous lesson when we say progress can only be made when we're in alignment and in flow. So looking at the emotions and the actions taken that you identified for yourself, I want you to really think about how often do you feel those emotions? How often are you feeling those kinds of emotions? And then correlate that to how often you're in those inaction activities, if you want to put it that way. When you're avoiding, when you're procrastinating, when you're hiding, when you're self-soothing, when you're comforting, right? How often you're in those states. And then maybe you can see why the struggle for you exists right now. So that's the first part, is to get clear about what's actually going on. And then in order to turn down the volume or overcome this inner voice that is telling you you're not enough, I think it's so important to understand that that voice is going to always be there in some capacity. Listen, You've heard people say at every level there's another devil, right? At every level there is another devil. So you work on where you're at right now. You get really solid in your habits and your belief for this next level that you're stepping into, and you do the things, you walk through the fire, you transcend the things, you create better habits, and you heal. And then you get to that next level and you're like, okay, yes, I achieved the thing. I'm here. I realize that I don't respond to things in the same way that I once did. I'm really proud of that growth that I've experienced, and there's another level available to me here. And so you start stepping into what that level looks like, and that voice comes back and says, who do you think you are? Like, you can't do this. You're not worthy of that. This will never work for you. And on it goes. At every level you try to step into in your life, that voice is going to come back because it's going to try and protect you. I want you to understand that voice is there as a self-protection mechanism in a lot of ways. I was on the treadmill the other day, and I was listening to an interview with Gabby Bernstein. She was being interviewed by Jay Shetty, I believe. And Gabby Bernstein, she was talking about her IFS training that she's been involved in. Internal Family Systems is the name of the therapeutic practice. So she'd written her new book, Self-Help is her new book, and she'd written that book based on the IFS model and her kind of perspective on it and her take on it, her version of it. And she was talking about how when we're in this state, when we're triggered by something comes along and it triggers the worst version of ourselves, whether that's, I had this happen to me the other day where somebody just didn't show up for a call that we had scheduled. And I get very triggered by people wasting my time because it makes me feel disregarded. It makes me feel insignificant. It makes me feel like discarded in a lot of ways. And that triggers a lot of my brokenness, a lot of the stuff that I still am constantly working on, because these were identities or messaging that was put on me at a very young age that told me something about what I was worthy of, what my value was, how much love I was worthy of, how much success or whatever I was worthy of. These messages kind of put an upper limit on my belief system about my worth and my value. And that's something that I've spent the last 30 something years working through, right? So I get very triggered when somebody wastes my time because it pulls back all those old stories and it almost gives me evidence to the validity of those stories. Like, see, I told you you weren't anything. I told you that you weren't significant. I told you that you're not worthy of anyone's time or attention, right? It re-triggers that. So when that happens, I often get I know to recognize it now, but my instinct immediately is listening to that voice and being like, yeah, there it is. And it really pulls me down into a very sad and negative kind of emotional state. And so I was on the treadmill listening to Gabby talk, and she said, like, think of when you don't show up as your best. Think of a moment when that happens. And I thought of this particular thing that triggers me. And she said, now ask that emotion that comes up, ask it, what do you need? And it made me think about this it made me think about it as a self-protective mechanism. And I thought about it like that in various times of my growth, but in that moment, I really got it. And because I asked that version of myself, I said, what do you need? And she said, I need to know that every time something doesn't go your way, you're not gonna talk shit about me. Basically, you're not gonna belittle me, you're not gonna degrade me, you're not gonna point fingers at me, you're not gonna self-abuse, you're not gonna blame me. That's what came up in my mind, was what she needed, that version of myself that reacts like that when she feels threatened. She needs to know that when something bad happens, that's not how she's going to be treated, because that's how I treat her, right? So when I say that it can be somewhat of a self-protection mechanism, it's understanding that you respond in those ways for a particular reason. It's self-protection. I have that immediate reaction to that trigger because I'm trying to protect that piece of me that thinks that she's not worthy of people's love or attention or respect. And so when I was able to start looking at it like that, I have much more compassion for that piece of myself, for that version of myself that exists. It's not so much about wanting her to go away, but rather being compassionate towards the fact that she was necessary at all, right? Can you show yourself that level of compassion, that version of yourself who does respond in ways that maybe you wish that you didn't, is like, show compassion for the fact that she had to exist at all. Let that sit for a second. And now, maybe overcoming that voice that's always telling you you're not enough, or always coming back with those stories of your brokenness or your unworthiness, rather than telling her you need to just stop and go away. No. But can we show some compassion? Can we ask her what she needs and get that answer for yourself, because it will be different from mine? Ask her what she needs. And then sit with that. Sit with what you hear. Sit with the inner knowing and that inner truth, your truth, that was just expressed to you, and work on that. I think that's such a much more powerful place to come from for long-term change, long-term progress and growth, than shut it down. Do you know what I mean? So now that you know why, or now that you've identified what actually goes on, like you sit down to do the thing, this is what the voice starts telling you, this is the emotion it makes you feel, and this is what you tend to do when that comes up. Now, with this understanding of the self-protection mechanism and the compassion that you can start to show that piece of yourself, now when she says, oh, who do you think you are? You're never going to be able to do that. Instead of the emotion of defeat or frustration or anger or shame or wanting to hide, wanting to give up, maybe you can say, baby girl, what do you need? When you just said that, what do you actually need? And then give that. If she just needs reassurance that you're not going to belittle or shame her if it doesn't go the way that you hope it will, you can say that to yourself, I promise. That, yes, I know this is going to be challenging. I know this is going to be a process, this launch, this change in my health, this shift in my relationship, this new career. It's not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to go, straight from A to Z in one straight line and just be beautiful and easy. I know there's going to be challenges. I know there's going to be things that I'm going to have to navigate and figure out as I go. There's pieces of myself that I'm going to have to heal and level up with, and new expectations I'm going to have to set, and new standards that I'm going to have for myself. I know that. So when the obstacle comes up, when the setbacks come up, when the inevitable failures or fuck ups come up, I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to shame you. We're going to work through it together and come out stronger on the other side. Maybe that's the conversation that you have, and think about what emotion would come out. Like, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. What emotion will come out of that interaction, and what kind of action you can take from that emotion. Can you see what I'm saying? So I kind of want to leave it there, and that was a lot. It's a lot to work through and a lot to really think about, especially when we've had ways of being or stories that we've just seen as truth about ourselves for how many years? How old are you? -5, -10, Whenever these things happened that told you these things about yourself, when you've had that as being your belief system about you for a long, long time, it takes a lot to unpack that, unravel that, and start to rewrite that. And it can feel like you can't do it. but you can. With these kinds of conversations and tools like Gabby's self-help book, and looking into tools like the IFS approach and strategy, or method, I should say, getting a coach, seeking a mentor, going to therapy, journaling, being in a growth practice for yourself, you can do it. You can make those changes, and it's crucial that you do, because that big, beautiful life that you want to live, that's waiting for you. It's there, it's ready, it's waiting for you. All right? I hope this served you well. Give it a thumbs up if it did. Consider sharing it with somebody that you think may need to hear this message. Grab Gabby's self-help book. I think you will get a lot out of that. And again, there's the link to my course about your inner critic down below, so you can get more insights into really how to work with that version of yourself. And yeah, this has been an incredible year of coaching and growth, and just me being in service of you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, trusting me with your time and your energy. I never take that for granted. And I'm really looking forward to more of this in 2026 as we continue to expand and grow together. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.